Hey guys, welcome to day 2. If you haven't listened to day 1, I highly recommend that you go back and you just listen to it. You do not have to watch the video. Really, I am such an audible person, so I like listening to things more than I like watching things, which is, one reason why I don't really practice a lot of video with my business, but I love doing audio things. I love talking one-to-one on person, but not necessarily recording myself. But I want that to change. So therefore, I'm showing up as a person who does recordings, which kind of brings us into, or does bring us into today's topic, is deciding who you want to be and living from that. Most of us know who we are based on our past. So we look at the past as deciding how we respond to things or what we currently do. But if you really want to change the way that you are or how you react or the relationships that you have to look from the future and become that person. Even if you don't believe that you can, we're definitely not stuck the way that we are. And again, you guys are all here because you want to move forward, and that means evolving as a person. So that means changing. And that is something that you have to decide ahead of time who you want to be, and then learn to become that person. Because that's really that is the journey, is who you're becoming. It's not always about the destination, but it's about who you're becoming in that process. So if we want to move forward, we have to look to the future and create it from there. And I know that I've already said that, but I like to think about a child. Like when your child, if you have children, or just even a child in general, when they learn to walk, can you imagine they're 1 or 2 and they're like, I can't do that because I never have. No, right? They don't even think about that. Their little brains are like, I'm going to figure it out because they're thinking about the future of the things that they can get into and explore. So they're not stuck on, oh, I fell. I just might as well not even do it. I might as well not even try to get up again. And we also have to be that way. So definitely take a look at your life and just look around right now. And when you have set a goal, like let's say you're going on a vacation, or you have this, most people create New Year's resolutions, and they're looking at who they are in the future, and it brings excitement. Like we can feel it. It's like it's tangible. We can definitely feel who that person is. We're living out of that excitement for that future. Well, it's the same thing with deciding who you're going to be. You definitely have to live from that future aspect and slowly become that person. It's not like a natural change. You don't just switch overnight. You gradually become that person that you decide to be. So when someone says that they are struggling to forgive, it's because they haven't practiced it or done it, or they're not living from that, I've decided to be a forgiving person. They're looking at their past and their pain, and they feel stuck in who it is that they currently are, but they don't realize that they can change based on deciding who they want to be in the future. So who you are is simple as who you decide to be. And I really want to emphasize on decide, because it's not like you're stuck. You weren't born into this family and now you're stuck being who you think that you are. Like you get to make decisions, and you get to make choices that can make you anybody that you want to be. Like the world is literally yours, but you have to decide to be that person. And then you have to show up and be that person every single day. So, I want to, I understand that it sounds super easy for me saying this, but it really is you reprogramming your brain, because it's convinced that you are who you are and that's how you're going to stay. Like it's very comfortable. It doesn't know right or wrong, good or bad. It just knows what you tell it every single day. So I love to think of our brain like Google. Like if you put, you know, in Google, my past shouldn't be that way. Well, it's going to bring up all the web pages of like past that shouldn't be that way, or like proof is basically what it is. It wants to find what you're looking for. But our brains are much the same way. Like, so if you say this shouldn't happen, or my past shouldn't have been that way, or, I shouldn't have made that decision, which we'll go in depth when it comes to, especially tomorrow, forgiving ourselves. But that's what your brain is going to find is I made a bad decision, or I was born into the wrong family, or they shouldn't have done that to me. And so your brain's going to keep bringing that up, but you get to reprogram it. And I love that you get to do that. It's not just, again, it's not like snap your finger, you change to this person that you've decided to be like overnight. Think of like an actor, like they play the part, the script is written. So they have a script that they have to follow. They have lines that they have to memorize. And the best actors like really become that person. And I always think about like Jim Carrey, like his movies were always hilarious because he became that person. But our lives are much like that. And it's not about being inauthentic. Like you are choosing something that you want to be or how you want to be. And you're just practicing showing up on that on a daily basis. And you really, like when you practice it, you have to believe it, and you have to actually feel it and think the thoughts of that. And I always like to give the example of when I was 25, I really hated my life, and I thought, I was just dealt the wrong cards. I was born into the wrong family. I was thrown from home to home. A lot of those things would always come up to me, or they would come up for me when my life would go wrong and I would feel stuck. And I got to a point where I started looking around for people that, well, first I was miserable. So I got to that point where I just was like, I can't live like this anymore. And I was looking for people that had similar lifestyles to mine, but they actually did something with their life. And I was like, man, well, they weren't given any advantages. So if they can do it, I can do it. I can become that person too. But at the time, I was like downing NyQuil every day just so I would sleep throughout the day because I didn't want to face life. And that was something that I needed to change. So when I was looking at these people, I was looking at like what is different from them and where I'm currently at. And for me to become that person, what do I need to practice? Well, one thing is they took responsibility for where they were in life, even in their biggest struggles. So they no longer like blame their parents or anybody, their marriage, their life, like on circumstances around them, the world. They were like, I'm here because I made decisions, and that means that I can make different decisions and end up where I want to be. And I will tell you that that's probably like one of the most powerful places you can ever be, is really understanding that there is nothing, you're never stuck. You're always moving in life, whether it's the way you want to go or the way you don't want to go, you're always moving. So stuck is just really not reality. So I decided to start stepping into the shoes of the person that I wanted to be. And for me, that meant I could no longer blame anyone. And I would practice, I'm here because I chose this decision. And at that time, I was newly divorced. I was living on someone's back porch. I had been living out of my car. I felt like a total failure. And I wanted to blame my dad for committing suicide. I wanted to blame my mom for the life that she gave me. But I decided to stop doing that. And I started thinking, you know what? I'm here because I made decisions. And that means, again, like I just said, I can make new decisions. And then here I am 16 years later, and now I'm teaching you the same things I had to teach myself at that point. So I'm like, I was really stepping into becoming that person every single day. And now it's so natural to me. I don't even think about it. Like if there's something I want to change, I look for my future of what I want, and I decide to go ahead and show up as that person. I no longer look at my past and think, like, oh, I've burned too many bridges, or oh, this person did this, or whatever the situation might be. So definitely, like, I just want to give you so much hope that it's all about deciding ahead of time how you want to be and who you want to be, what kind of person you want to be, and walking in those footsteps and learning more about what that looks like, for you, especially. So the question is, who do I want to be? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a person that's slow to anger? Do you want to be a person that's quick to forgive? Do you want to be a peacekeeper? Like, do you want to be the one that's like, you know what? I just want peace. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to be angry with people. I want to be nice. I want to be full of joy. So, are you becoming someone that's full of joy and happiness and, um, really, someone that, a big one for me was, I wanted to be a person who did what she said she was going to do. And for me, this was so hard because I got stuck in people pleasing. I wanted to do everything I thought everybody expected for me. And I just got so burnt out. And then I ended up getting really sick in 2015. And I just had to let things go. And then people started coming at me from different directions, and they were expressing their disappointment and stuff, and I had to deal with all those feelings. While I don't wish that anybody would get sick like I did, it was, so eye-opening. Like, I learned so much about myself in that time, and I decided to be a person that was going to show up when she said she was going to do something. And that meant that I had to learn to say no to things that were not important to me, instead of being like a yes, ma'am. Yes, sure, I'll do that. No problem. So I had to decide. I also had to be a person, who was, um, forgiving for things that I had done to myself. I don't know if a lot of you may know that I'm pretty open about it, but I got really sick from breast implants and I had an autoimmune, which made it a million times worse. Um, my liver was shutting down, and I was living in an RV with my husband. We were traveling and I could not even enjoy it. I had to sleep like 15 hours a day. And I felt like such a failure in life. Like, I had done this to myself. I can't believe I had done that. I spent so much of my family's money. I really was beating up on myself. And so I said, I don't like the way that I feel. I feel miserable about myself. It's like self-loathing. I had done so much work already on myself. Like, I really wanted to feel different. So I had to not look at my past because my past was pointing me towards guilt and shame. I had to look at my future. Who do I want to be? I want to be a woman that has grace for herself, and I want to extend that to other people. And that was so changing for me. So then I would no longer beat myself up. I decided that I was going to have grace on the days, especially that I didn't feel well and couldn't do things. And it's just changed my relationship with myself so much because I believe I was making the best decision I knew when I decided to get implants. I now know that I had, uh, I wanted to feel differently. I wanted to feel more attractive. But I realized I was already that. I was already attractive. I just didn't see it in myself. And I having grace really taught me that. So I had to step into becoming that person. So, um, do you want to be someone who's a loving wife or husband or daughter or son or, um, friend? That's something, that is really important to you. So what's like important to you? What is the reason why you're here in this group? Is there someone that you want to forgive? Is it yourself? Is it that you want to move forward in your life? So you have to decide what that is. And then the rest of the week's activities will go based off of that. So I really, really encourage you to do today's activity because if you do not make decisions ahead of time and you do not decide who it is that you want to be, the rest of the week is going to be difficult for you. And Actually, life will. I will just admit that. If you don't make decisions ahead of time, you're just going to roll with the punches, and whatever's thrown at you, that's how you're going to deal with life according to your past. And if you're not happy with that, then you're going to stay unhappy. So I really recommend that that's something that you think about. Everything you want decides with making a decision to go after something. So let's see here. So when we decide who we want to be, that doesn't mean that people are going to participate in our plan. People are still going to be jerks. They're still going to do the things that they do, and we don't have any control over that. So it's really important that we just decide who we're going to be, and then we continue to show up in that in all of our relationships. And I think that's something that's so freeing is when you think about your relationship with yourself, when you think about your relationship with your children, your parents, your siblings, your exes, your spouses, your friends, they all have a common denominator. And I don't know if you can guess what that is, but the common denominator is you. They all involve you. So if you notice that your relationships are kind of a wreck, realize that you're the common denominator in all of them. And so you can already change 50% of that equation by realizing that you can show up in the way that you want to show up. And that changes the whole dynamic. So if you have a math equation and it's like, this plus this equals this, well, if you change 50% of that problem, then it becomes this plus this, it changes the outcome of that problem. It's the same thing with relationships is you have that dynamic to change how you want to show up, and that changes the outcome of the relationship, the result of the relationship, because now you see it differently. You get to choose who you want to be and what that looks like. So today's activity, and it's definitely posted with this video, is to look at, answer the question, I'm becoming someone who is, and I left several different lines because I know it's in different areas that maybe, again, like it's someone that shows up for themselves. Well, that doesn't have anything to really do with forgiving or anything like that. Maybe it's someone that forgives. So I left several different lines for you to fill that out and really decide who it is that you want to be. And a book that I recommend, and I wanted to make sure I remember to mention this, is called Breaking the Habit of Becoming Yourself. It just talks about how the brain is so powerful in making those decisions. Like, you can change your thoughts. That I never understood this, but before my dad committed suicide, he would tell me, Tamara, your thoughts create your reality. And I just never like understood what that meant. But then, a few months later, he committed suicide, and I just started studying that because I'm like, what happened? Like, what were his thoughts? So it really got me diving really deep into this. And so, it's just changed my life completely. And I use the same tools with all the clients that I've coached, all my friends. And so it's what I'm teaching you are skills that can change your life in so many different areas. So I really hope that you participate in this. I know it's just about forgiveness, which may or may not be super important. Maybe you're just curious, but it's really about your whole life and the way you think about things. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's video, which is how we forgive ourselves, because if you cannot forgive yourself, you are not going to be able to extend what you do not have. That's something that I have learned. And there's not been one person that has taught me wrong. They have not taught me that they have forgiven someone else, but yet they're really hard on themselves, or that they've given someone else grace, yet they don't give themselves grace, because it starts with us. And that's like our number one area of healing, and why I put it on the very first day of the activities that we're going to be doing. So I'm really excited to chatting with you tomorrow, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.